Hello there, my dear students, and welcome to this video lecture about this brand new lesson on inertia. This is a uh, web application framework for us that you can create a web application that is um, put together the back end with the front end into one single project. And this is called Inertia. It's the modern monolith. So, as we move along with this video tutorial, I would like you to direct your attention to the installation guide, because this first video is all about how to set up your working environment. And I have a guide in our Moodle course right here below Laravel Inertia Vue 3. Here's the installation guide, and you can right click and save link as. This is a text file, and this basically is uh, a list of all the commands that you are going to execute on the command line in order to set up your Laravel 9, Inertia, and Vue 3. So Laravel 9 here is the back end, Vue 3 is the front end, and Inertia is the glue that put them together. Okay, so here I have a brand new Laravel installation. So with the execution of this command here, I created this installation. It's called My Recipes. And after creating this new Laravel application, what I did is I created two models. So in the app here, I already have two models: the recipe and the ingredients. A recipe is going to have several ingredients on it. So that's basically I also had already the migration for this, of course. And inside of migrations, I already have this recipes table and the ingredients table. Besides that, I also have one recipe seeder, which I just seeded two recipes without ingredients as of yet. This is just what we have with what we need for this video lecture. And so now we can proceed with the setup of inertia. So there are two parts in the setup of inertia into your application. First, you'll have to do something for your back end, and then you'll have to do something for your front end. So let's start with the commands that we need to do for our back end. So after the create project, you go to the folder of your project, and then you execute this. This is to install inertia into the server side. So I'll copy this one, go back to code, open up the terminal, and paste it here. So it's composer require Inertia.js / inertia - Laravel. Well, that's because inertia is not just for Laravel. It can also be used for Django or Rails. So here, since we are very familiar with Laravel, we'll be using Laravel. So we are installing Inertia.js for Laravel. So enter. Of course, this is going to pull some dependencies and will be placed into the folder. And we'll just have to wait a little bit. After that, you can now open up our VS Code. Well, I already opened our VS Code, and next we need to do is to create a file called app.blade.php inside of resources views. Okay, so when this is done, well, while it's still doing its thing, we can do this simultaneously. So let me go to resources views, and we have the welcome blade here. We are going to add in a new file called app.blade.php. wherein we are going to paste this code here. This is what we get from the Inertia uh, website on the installation on the server side. So this was the command. Here is the code of the app.blade.php, which we are going to paste here. Okay. Now, as you can see, this particular code is meant for Laravel Mix. Unfortunately, the Laravel 9, this is Laravel 9. If you look at the composer.json, we are using a Laravel. Where's that? Laravel Framework 9.19. And this Laravel Framework 9 does not use the Webpack anymore, which is being wrapped by the Laravel mix. Instead, it's now using the Vite for this. So we are going to change this thing. So meaning we are going to remove this and instead replace it with the Vite directives. Okay. So that's what is written here on my guide. So here's the Vite directive for the CSS. Let's copy this one and paste it there. And then below the inertia is the Vite directive for the JavaScript, which is this one. All right, there you go. And save it. Next thing that we need to do is now we are going to create the middleware for the inertia, and we can do that using this command. So here in the command, we place that PHP artisan inertia colon middleware. And it is going to create a middleware. And that middleware is now stored in the middlewares folder. But we also need to register that into our kernel as with any middleware that we create. So it's open up our kernel under app HTTP. And we are going to add the middleware in the web section. The name of the middleware is what's that? Handle inertia request. So say handle inertia. That's it. Class. Okay, so that's the thing. Next we need to do is for the front end now. Okay, and so let me close this up and open up the terminal once again. This time we're now going to install the JavaScripts and all the dependencies for the front end. So the first thing we need to install is this Inertia.js. Inertia, this is the core JavaScript package for Inertia. And then since Inertia is not just for Vue, it is also available for React and is also available for Svelte. And so in this particular case, since we are using Vue, we are also going to install Inertia for Vue. So let me copy this command here and paste. Oops. Uh-oh. I think I double tapped it. Let's see if this still works. Now, it's going to install a lot of things. While it's doing its thing, if we created an app that blade.php for the backend, we also need to have an app.js for the front end. This is basically the set of command to create an instance of our inertia. And so we can also put some configurations if we want to. So all we have to do is we already have an app.js under resources.js folder. All we have to do is replace that with this code. So I'm copying this here and going back to VS Code, we go to resources, JS, and there's the app.js which only have the bootstrap import there. We don't need that anymore. So let's delete that and paste the new code right here. Now, uh, since this is, again, this might work for the Laravel 8, but in Laravel 9, we need to change something. That something is simply changing the require here into import. Okay, and that's it for now. Actually, we can still have some configuration. We can still do some configuration here, but for now, since we're just setting it up, let's just take a look at this and make it run its most basic form. So we don't need to do anything else besides changing the require into import. Okay, and the command also has finished. So going back to the guide, next we need to do is to install. So here we're simply going to change the require into import. We did that already. And next we are going to install the Vue components. So we're installing the latest version of Vue, the Vue loader, and also the compiler for single file components. So let's do this. This is just to make sure that these packages are included. They might have been included already in the previous commands, but this is just to make sure. Nothing is being pasted. Let's see, copy. Okay. Also, another thing that we need to install is the plugin for the Vite. Since the original guide, this one, is meant for Laravel 8, which uses again Webpack and Laravel Mix. And in Laravel 9, it's no longer used, but it's now using Vite. So that's why part of my guide here is to install Vite.js plugin for the Vue framework. So let me copy that one as well. And as soon as this is going to finish, we'll just simply paste that in. For now, we'll have to wait for this command to finish. Come on, come on. You can do it. All right, it's finished. And now let's paste the second and the next command, which is to install the Vite.js plugin for Vue. All right. Now that we have installed the Vite.js plugin for Vue, we can now go ahead and configure our Vite configuration or change our Vite configuration, that is, so that it is now going to include the Vue package. So all we have to do is import the Vue package here, import Vue from, and we'll be using Vite.js plugin for Vue. This is the one. And all we have to do now is include the Vue package in the plugins. So say Vue and then separated by a comma. And that's all there is to it in the configuration. Now we can try and execute our installation of the npm install. So all of the dependencies will now be installed into this application and will be stored into the folder. What's that folder? Node modules. So all the JavaScript dependencies are stored in the node modules, and all the PHP Laravel dependencies are stored in the vendor folder. So there you go. It has been installed, and we can try out running the development of it. So npm run dev to run the Vue. And then we'll open up another terminal to run our server. PHP artisan serve. Let's make sure that it's running, and this one is running as well. If we are going to open up this link, which will of course open up the application, you'll see of course the usual Laravel page, no? But we are going to change that in a moment. So basically that's the whole installation process. And now let's try this out by creating a new component and rendering it. So now that we are using this Inertia, our front end will all happen in the JS folder right here. And as a convention, we are going to need to add a folder here called pages. And that is where we put our single page components for Vue. And let's create one. Let's just create a maybe a home view for this. And of course, this is a Vue component, and therefore we are going to have a template. IntelliJ is not working. I don't know why. No, I like it. Anyway, my computer is very slow. Okay, you have a template there. Let's just put an H1 for, so it says home. Okay, and of course we can put a script. Right now we don't need to have a script, but let's just put there anyway. Right there. And I would like to use the script setup style. There's our home view. And let's just now render this. Now, in Inertia, we don't need to have some other ways of rendering. When in Laravel, we render our front end, our view using the view function. In Inertia, there is also an Inertia function, and we don't have to use the API in this, and we just have to use the web. So if we open up the web route, we can do this. No, not route, that's the web. There we go. So instead of returning a view, we are going to return an Inertia. And instead of a blade, we are going to return a single file component, which in this case, we will try rendering home.view, which is inside of pages. If you are going to take a look at our app.js file that we just created earlier, let's open this up. It's actually resolving from .pages. So this pages folder, and then whatever that name is. However, we might have some problem here because by convention, we're simply going to call this home. Okay. Return Inertia home. And here we need to correct this. I forgot this earlier. We need to add the .view extension so that we don't have to say .view all the time in our rendering. So return inertia. You can also use the class if you want to. So it's inertia. Inertia, that's the class. Unfortunately, it's not rendered. It's not recognized. And inertia render like that. But it's of course shorter to just use the shorthand inertia like so. Okay. So now let's try refreshing this. What's going to happen? It's loading. I think there's going to, yeah, there's our home. So now it works. And just to make sure that, just to demonstrate that this is really a component, let's add here a constant um, message that says, hello, I am an inertia app. And let's just um, put it here as an interpolation message. Yeah, it should be placed inside of a paragraph tag like so, and save. And let's see, it says hello, I am an inertia app. So it's working as expected as a Vue.js. And also, let's do something more cooler. Let's have a const number. And this time we'll use a reference for this because we want to change things. Remember the composition API? We'll be using a reference for that. Let's give it a value of 0. And we need to import ref from Vue. And then let's try another P here. And inside of the P, we put the number. And then you can add some button to increment and decrement the number. So let's just add something to increment that at the end here, button, and with the plus sign. And let's have at click. And when you click, you are going to call increment. And let's define that function here. Function increment. We're simply going to add something to the number. It says number.value plus plus. Okay, let's try if this works. It's not showing. Let's see what's the problem. It's still loading. My PC is very slow because I'm recording. That's probably why. But I think I have error and uncaught promise. Let's see what's wrong here. Does not provide export name default. Should it be like that? Let's see if this works. Yeah, it works. See, we are incrementing, and if we are going to add another one button up here with a minus, this time we at click and we call decrement this case, and we say number dot value minus minus. Of course, we now have the minus here, we plus and b minus, plus minus. So this works. Our application is now ready for development. We now have our uh, back end ready and our front end ready. So for this, we'll continue with our next video, which is we'll now start building up our application. So see you next time.